What's up everyone, my name is Andy and welcome to another car comparison video where we'll be talking about the specs of two very popular SUVs, the 2020 Porsche Macan and the Land Rover Velar. Now if you've clicked on this video, you're probably cross-shopping these two cars or just genuinely interested about their specifications. So in this video, I'll compare many topics such as differences in horsepower, interior room, fuel efficiency, and of course pricing and trim levels so you can make a more informed decision. The Porsche Macan has been out since 2015 and slots into a compact luxury/sporty SUV segment along with cars such as the BMW X3 and the Audi Q5. The Macan launched after Porsche received much success with their first attempt at the SUV with the Cayenne. Fast forward several years and the Macan has been a very popular car for Porsche. The Macan recently went through a refresh with the 2019 model and looks very sporty and aggressive while still maintaining its Porsche understated look. The Land Rover Velar, officially called the Land Rover Range Rover Velar, debuted in 2018 and sports a very dramatic and seductive design that hadn't been seen before in an SUV. It's only fitting that Land Rover would pioneer such a design, and they're pretty much synonymous with the word SUV because that's really all they make. Of course, the ever popular original Range Rover still carries the flagship for the Land Rover brand, but the Velar offers a unique entry into the Range Rover lineup. So both the Macan and the Velar have bold styling and have their own unique twist on what an SUV should be. So with that, let's jump into the comparison, starting off with the first category, pricing. The entry-level trim on the Land Rover Velar is the Velar SP250, and its base price comes in at $57,325, which includes a $1,025 destination and handling fee. For the Porsche Macan, the base level trim is just simply called the Macan, and its sticker price of $52,250 includes a $1,350 destination and handling charge. The difference between these two cars comes out to $5,075. Not a small chunk of change, but this is just the tip of the iceberg for these two. Next, let's look at the different trim levels and the engines they come with. Before getting into the trims and engines, I wanted to mention that all the Velar and Macan trim levels come with four-wheel drive as standard. Alright, starting off with the Velar, it has 4 different trim levels and engines to go along with them. The base engine found in the P250 trim, which is the entry-level trim, is a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder making 247 horsepower and 269 foot-pounds of torque. The 2-liter engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. Jumping up another level in the Velar, it's the P340 trim. It gets a 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine making 340 horsepower and 332 foot-pounds of torque, which is again mated to an 8-speed transmission. Land Rover also offers you an updated version of the same V6 from the P340 trim in a higher level, the HSE P380, and that gets an updated V6 making 380 horsepower and 332 foot-pounds of torque. And finally, you've got the hot rod version, the SVO trim, which comes equipped with a 5-liter supercharged V8 engine, pumping out 550 horsepower and 502 foot-pounds of torque. Now let's switch over to the Porsche Macan. The Macan in its base level trim utilizes a similar 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine, pumping out 248 horsepower and 273 foot-pounds of torque. The Macan is equipped with a fantastic 7-speed double-clutch transmission called the PDK. Moving up a trim level, the Macan S is offered with a 3-liter turbocharged V6, making 348 horsepower and 354 foot-pounds of torque, which again is mated to the 7-speed PDK transmission. Then from there, Porsche offers an upgraded V6 engine when you step up to the GTS model. The GTS gets a 2.9-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, making 375 horsepower and 383 foot-pounds of torque. One item to point out here is that the S-level trim and the GTS trim have different V6 engines. The S trim is a 3-liter single turbo, while the GTS is a 2.9-liter twin turbo. And finally, the highest level for the Macan is the turbo trim. Porsche offers the same 2.9-liter twin-turbocharged engine from the GTS, but turns it up to 343 horsepower and 406 pounds-feet of torque. So here are the differences between each equivalent trim level between the Velar and the Macan. Even though these numbers are very similar, it seems like the Porsche has the upper hand in the entry-level trims, and the Velar has the upper hand on the higher end with the SVO, which isn't really surprising because it's got a humongous supercharged V8 engine. Next, let's talk about the weight in these two cars. The Velar tips the scales at 4,217 pounds, and the Macan comes in a smidge lighter at 4,099 pounds for a difference of 118 pounds. The Macan is the lighter car here, and the reason why I like to cover weight is because it serves as a segue into the next category, acceleration. Here are the 0 to 60 times across all the Velar and Macan trim levels. The slowest accelerating car comes in at 6.4 seconds in the Velar P250 trim, and the Macan comes in a tick faster at 6.3 seconds. Overall, the Macan is the faster of the two cars. An interesting point here is on the faster end or the higher end, where the Velar SVO and the Macan Turbo both achieve the same 4.3 acceleration time from 0 to 60. It's interesting because the Macan Turbo is as fast as the SVO trim in the Velar, even though the Macan is down 116 horsepower. The next two topics we're going to talk about are cargo space and interior dimensions. Starting off with the interior of these two cars, I wanted to mention that both of them can seat up to a maximum of 5 people. There are no options for a third row in either one of these cars. Moving to the interior dimensions, here is a chart showing the front and rear legroom, headroom, and shoulder room for the Velar and the Macan. One really strange item related to the Macan is that I couldn't find any website that had published numbers for the interior. I was able to find a clue on a Macan community forum, and even then it was a picture showing the dimensions in millimeters, so I had to convert them over to inches. I found it really weird that these numbers aren't published, and I haven't really experienced this with any other Porsche car. But anyway, based on the chart, you can see that the Velar has the bigger interior by quite a margin. Look at the front legroom. You have 7 more inches in the front and 5 more inches in the rear. For the reason I mentioned earlier, I couldn't find anything published about the Macan and its shoulder room, so you'll have to compare this in person. Staying on the interior, now let's look at how much cargo space these two cars have. Now both the Macan and the Velar have the ability to fold down their second row seats to create more cargo room. With the second row down, the Velar has 61.1 cubic feet of storage space and the Macan has 52.9 for a difference of 8.2 cubic feet. If you have the second row in the upright position, the Velar has 34.4 cubic feet versus the Macan 17.6 for a difference of a whopping 16.8 cubic feet. It's quite obvious to me that if you're going to carry around a lot of cargo room, the Velar may be the better choice here. Next, let's look at the size of these two cars. Here's a chart showing the length, height, width, and wheelbase of the Velar and the Macan. Similar to the interior dimensions, you can see that the Velar is the bigger car in every aspect. The Velar's bigger size ties into supporting the extra interior space and much larger cargo storage space we just compared. So if you want the bigger car overall, the Velar is probably the car for you, or if you're lacking in interior garage space, you might want to make a decision between the Velar and the Macan. The next topic is fuel efficiency. In the base trim of the Velar, which as a reminder is equipped with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, it attains 21 miles per gallon in the city, 27 in the highway for a combined average of 23, and it has a fuel tank size of 16.6. With the Macan and its 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, in the city it attains 19 miles per gallon, 23 in the highway, for a combined average of 21 miles per gallon and a fuel tank of 19.8. Looking at these charts, the Velar is the more fuel efficient car in the base level trim. This is really surprising because the Velar is the bigger, heavier car of the two and makes less horsepower. My belief is that the Velar's better fuel efficiency may be contributed to the extra gear it's got in its transmission, 8 in the Velar versus 7 in the Macan. One other interesting item is that the Macan has a much bigger fuel tank versus the Velar, more than 3 gallons. Therefore, the Macan will not only be less fuel efficient, but it will also cost you more to fill up your gas tank. Alright, because these two cars are SUVs and they have 4-wheel drive, let's talk about towing capabilities. The Velar can tow 5,291 pounds, while the Macan 4,409 pounds, for a difference of 882. Even though very few people are going to buy the Velar or the Macan to tow around heavy equipment, it's nice to know that they can still move things around. And the last topic I want to talk about is the warranty. Both the Macan and the Velar come with the same warranty, which is 4 years, 50,000 miles, bumper to bumper, and powertrain. So with that, those are all the categories I'm going to compare. To wrap up the video, let's review all the categories and close it out with some final thoughts. So looking at the pricing category, the Macan takes this by being a little bit cheaper. When comparing the base level trims, the Macan wins the power and torque. Weight also goes to the Macan. Acceleration also goes to the Macan. Looking at the interior dimensions, that goes to the Velar. The cargo space goes to the Velar. Miles per gallon and fuel efficiency also goes to the Velar. And finally, so does the towing category. So there you have it. Remember the roughly $5,000 price difference between the Velar and the Macan? Well, if you're someone who's looking for a bigger car that has more room on the interior, gets better fuel economy, and has better towing, the Velar is probably for you and justifies the $5,000 difference. If you're into sportiness, horsepower, lighter weight, better acceleration, the Macan is probably better for you. The Macan and the Velar seem to be tailored to different audiences. The Velar is the classic SUV with better interior space and very edgy and modern design. The Macan holds true to the Porsche badge by offering the utility of an SUV while wearing a sporty design and offering an engaging driving experience. That's the end of the video, folks. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Until next time, drive steady.